Hey everybody, how are we doing? Welcome to another tea time with Darko Free. Darko Free, of course, being me. I feel like I'm breaking the rules. I haven't actually got a cup of tea, I've got a cup of coffee. I know, very un-British of me. Not having tea when it's tea time. What word are you talking about, Doug? What is this? You're a British guy drinking coffee. We other Brits will kick you out of the country. Hey, I know this. I know this person too. Hey, Gruffy. Hey, Dan. If you ever wondered what a high-budget stream looks like, this is it. I have my art person on. I'm not bad, thanks. I'm not bad. Yeah, I've got my art person on the actual overlay, which takes a bit of time with things. I've also got a new emote on the way. Tomorrow it should be finished, hopefully, and we'll have the darker tea emote. So that's gonna be. I'm quite excited to have a new emote for the first time in. Oh, does Twitch actually tell me the last time I installed or added an emote? I'm not sure, actually. It's viewer awards, isn't it? There it is. Does it say when I put this up? Should say on my emotes page. Well, I know I've got one of my standard emotes used, so that's that. Doesn't seem to show. No, it's not saying when I uploaded them, it's just saying that I uploaded them. Interesting. But it's been quite some time. You woke up to both cats in bed this morning. Damn, there were 3 cats in your bed. Oh, I can change these now? Can I actually do that? Hold on a second. I just realised that I can. Yes! Oh, I have not, like, does that apply now? Is that done? Is that awesome? Sweet. So, yeah, so for emotes for so long, I only just realised this, and thanks for pointing me in this direction, Gruffy. I only just realised. I'm just going to lower the volume of this, because if it's quite loud for me, it's probably loud for you guys. I just realised that I can now finally move emotes between tiers. And before, the Darker Note emote was stuck as a tier 2 emote. And I couldn't physically move it. It was stuck as a tier 2 emote, and even when they allowed you to move emotes around, they didn't allow you to, as in within tiers, they didn't allow you to move emotes between tiers. So you couldn't make a tier 1 emote a tier 3 emote if you thought it was that much more worthwhile, or you couldn't make a tier 2 emote a tier 1 emote when you didn't feel fair only having one of each thing. And way back when, on Twitch, back when the affiliate program first came about, you were only allowed to have one standard emote, one tier 1 emote, one tier 2 emote, and one tier 3. Well, a lot's changed since then, and thanks to Aramil a while back, I unlocked some more emote tiers, or emote slots. But they also made some changes to allow affiliates to have some more emote slots at each tier. So at the moment we have 7 available emote slots, and I've used 2 of them. So now the Dark Assault and Darker Note emotes are both for tier 1 subs. So there you go, guys. And the Darker Tea emote will also be coming as a tier 1 emote. And we've got also apparently three animated emote slots. So I'm going to have to find something to do with that. I think we're probably going to end up with one salty one. We're probably going to end up with one tea one. And I kind of want like a GG emote to appear. Everyone has a GG emote. I kind of want a GG emote. So, yeah. Those are the plans. But this week, or I say this week ends tomorrow. So, assuming how far the design gets, we may be uploading a new emote tomorrow. It may be at some point in the week. I'm hoping tomorrow. I really am hoping for a new emote to appear on Sunday. Except mine would be Get Good. Yeah, it would. I could just have a darker Get Good. There you go. On that note, I do kind of want to get Elden Ring and play it on stream, but I'm not sure if it, like, anyone who's seen me play I think I played Dark Souls 3 on stream a while back, and Dark Souls 1 well before that, and neither went well. I don't think I've ever completed a Soulsborne game, actually, thinking about it. Yeah, me playing Elden Ring would not be good. But actually, Elden Ring was a topic I wanted to talk about today, actually. And not through my playing it or wanting to play it, well, Bandai Namco would get free money from me. But that's an issue, right? I don't understand this, but Bandai Namco have so many games under their belt, yet, like Square Enix, they can't for the life of them do a PC release. They can't. Like, I don't understand what's so difficult for Bandai Namco and Square Enix, but their PC releases are so bad. It's actually kind of depressing how bad PC ports are for Bamco games and Squeenix. Like, if we go through the list of games that I've had problems with from Square Enix, we are going to be here for ages. As opposed to how many games I haven't had problems with, and I can't think of any. I can't think of one Square Enix game on PC that I've not had problems with in one way, shape, or form. Actually, no, I lie. If I remember correctly, isn't Rise of the Tomb Raider is Square Enix, isn't it? I'm just checking. Yeah, so Rise of the Tomb Raider kind of works fine on PC. For a start, I can run it in borderless windowed. Problems the consoles all standardized and easy to work on, but every PC is different. You have so much more complexity, and I fully understand that. I very much understand that with PCs, it's very difficult to have something that works fully for all hardware, and that's fully understandable. But what I don't get is it's 2022, my guys. It's 2022. And I still have issues with Square Enix and Bamco PC releases running them in borderless windowed. And it really annoys me that I can't run them in borderless windowed. Not easily. Anyway, even when I'm playing Rise of the Tomb Raider, I haven't played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, but Rise of the Tomb Raider, like, I run it in borderless windowed, but the moment I click off the game, it suspends the game. And there have been a couple cases where I've gone back to the game and the game's just gone, nah, I'm going to crash now, thanks, bye. Deus Ex Human Revolution, when I was trying to play that on PC, there wasn't a borderless windowed option available. And if you alt-tabbed, you had a 50-50 chance of the game crashing. And I was like, okay, fine, that's early on in the era, fine. And then Mankind Divided had the exact same issue. It would not run borderless windowed at all. I think it had the option, it just didn't work. And a part of the issue, I think, is where game devs haven't fully established what borderless windowed means. Does that mean you can, like, if you've got two screens that you can click off onto the second screen and not have an issue? Or does it mean something else? Because some places you click borderless windowed and it does literally nothing to change it. A lot of great games I've wanted to play but don't even run now for me since I keep having compatibility issues. Yeah, compatibility issues are a pain. If you've got older hardware, especially now, I get the feeling that my older rig, which is like coming on 10 years old now, even with its 970, it's got a 3770K and a GTX 970. It would probably struggle with some of the more recent releases now, even in lower settings. Can't play Cyberpunk. Not many people can play. When I first installed Cyberpunk, I had so many problems with it. Mostly because when it did I said, oh, just set whatever you want. I went, okay, cool. So it detected it was 1080p. It's like, yep, 1080p. But it didn't disable ray tracing, and ray tracing was broken on release. So I had to go through and change that. I also had to update my graphics drivers, and that's the bane of my life, updating graphics drivers. Especially with NVIDIA, you never know whether that'll work or not, or break something. Speaking of Deus Ex, have I watched H-Bomber Guy's video on it? I think I've got it on my list of things to... I can't remember, actually. Hold on. Let me... Now, I can't remember whether H-Bomber Guy was one of the guys I won't watch because of various things, but... Desudex. I typed in Desu Sex. Oh, that was released 6 days ago, that Human Revolution one. I mean, Human Revolution... Yeah, I think this has been appearing in my recommended list for well, probably 6 days. Yeah, I think on release, Human Revolution was a bit of a weird one. Because if you wanted to play stealth, it actively punished you. Because on original release, if you had a stealth build and you didn't have defense or any decent lethal guns, you couldn't defeat... Oh, what was his name? You couldn't defeat the first boss. You have to go do something. No, that's fine. I'll see you in a sec. I'm going to carry on rambling though, so you may miss something. Yeah, with Human Revolution, the original release of it, you couldn't stealth through the entire game, apart from one boss fight, I believe. All the other boss fights required you to actually have a combat spec, and that wasn't ideal. Because even Deus Ex 1 had solved that issue. The original Deus Ex had solved that issue by giving plenty of opportunities to talk your way out of fights, or to find information that would make you be able to avoid the fight. I know that there was a point on the plane when you found your way in that if you did it right, you could kill Anna Navarra really quickly in the fight before she could get any damage off. And you could actually set up a trap to do that as well, which is kind of cool. But I still think the original Deus Ex, out of all of the Deus Ex games, Deus Ex, the OG, back when Eidos was still a thing, the original Deus Ex was the best one by far. Best one by far. There's no competition. There's a reason that there have been so many mods and updates that people have done to Deus Ex so that people can play it. Deus Ex, the original Deus Ex, is quite possibly, in my opinion, a masterpiece. It's definitely in one of my top 5 games ever made in existence. That's how good I think Deus Ex was. I played the shit out of that back in secondary school. It was crazy how much of that I played. And I still do every now and then. I still play Deus Ex. I've got the... What's that modded version called? Revision? Yeah, I've got Revision installed, but I may just do a load of streams on at some point, just because I love Deus Ex. I haven't played Revision, and I know that it did some reworks to things where they changed up various levels and made them a little bit more intuitive, but there are a few changes to the original Deus Ex there, which I may not be happy with, but we'll see how that goes. I may play that on stream at some point. But yeah, my original idea, and Gruffy taught me into it with the whole Elden Ring thing, was I wanted to quickly talk about the whole what's the wording here? I guess bullshittery would be a good description of it. The bullshittery surrounding Elden Ring and the two sides of the argument. For a start, it's a FromSoft game. You know, well, unless you're expecting to be playing an Armored Core game, which, quite frankly, I would kill for FromSoft to make another of. But the whole, you're buying a FromSoft game, which means you know that you're going to be playing Dark Souls or Bloodborne. One of those two things. And that's basically what Elden Ring is. Elden Ring is... it's Dark Souls or Bloodborne. It's a Soulsborne game. Like, it's Demon Souls, it's Dark Souls, it's Bloodborne, it's Elden Ring. It's what it is. But the usual suspects complaining about, oh, it doesn't have level difficulty select. You're like, well, yeah, it's a Soulsborne game. It doesn't need it. You don't need difficulty. When you're buying a Soulsborne game, you know exactly what you're getting into. And if you don't know what you're getting into when you bought Elden Ring, you probably should do your research on games before you buy them. But that was... So you've got the usual suspects complaining about that. But the whole... game developers... I mean, just because you as a game developer do not agree with the creative vision of the way the game went, doesn't mean that you in your position have a right to dunk on it. Especially when you are a person who worked on Battlefield 2042 and is now a senior UX designer for Ubisoft. I mean, in both of those cases, you can leave your attitude at the door because it's Battlefield 2042 and Ubisoft. And two, where do you get off on claiming that someone else's vision is lower or higher than your own? You know? Where do you think you are in that your vision is superior? And I've seen that meme image of what Elden Ring would look like if it was an Ubisoft release, and that is so accurate. It's so accurate. And I think that's something that, like, Ubisoft now is making, like, their releases that you get, it's like generic open world release number 52. And I'm so looking forward to getting to the end of the whole open world stuff. I really want to see the end of all of the open world, because there was that whole thing on Steam, the trifecta of failure: Steam Early Access, open world survival crafting. And I'm glad we're getting to the end of that. And the danger with going fully open world is you can't always make the world feel lived in, as Biomutant can attest to, unfortunately. But my whole thought about the Elden Ring stuff is when you've got people from different... So when you've got Western devs dunking on Japanese devs because they didn't make a game that fits their sensibilities. You know? I don't agree with that. At the end of the day, you as devs are making the games that you or the person that you're working alongside envision. And Western design is different to Eastern design. There's a difference. There's a difference in aesthetic. There's a difference in attitude. Why do you think a lot of the gacha stuff comes from Asia? Japan, China, Korea. And the hardcore JRPGs, there's a reason they're called JRPGs. The hardcore JRPGs, again, come from Japan. Fair number of MMOs, because it fits the way they do things, Korea. Korea has so many MMOs. A lot of which we never see. I think we're seeing Lost Ark quite late compared to when Korea saw it. But then you've got the whole Western aesthetic. You see a lot more first-person shooters. You see a lot more open world from the West. You see a lot more crafting and a lot more survival, and I mean that could possibly be what made Animal Crossing New Horizons so much more popular in the West than any previous one. It has crafting in it. Not quite sure how that works, but although the timing may have helped for New Horizons, but yeah, the whole dunking for Ubisoft and Battlefield 2042 guy dunking on FromSoft for Elden Ring, the whole Western journos dunking on it. Was it a guy from Guerrilla that dunked on it? The guys that worked on The Last of Us Part 2 dunked on it. So you're looking at all of these devs who are trying to dunk on Elden Ring, and sorry guys, but your takes aren't they're not hot takes. They're not hot takes at all. But I do have a suggestion. I do have a suggestion for the game devs that get butthurt, I guess, at the popularity of games that don't fit what they want to do or what they're doing, or don't fit what they think should be a popular game. And my bit of advice is suck it up. Oh no, the thing that you thought shouldn't be popular has become popular. Oh, heaven forbid. This world will now end. But something that you think doesn't have any relevance in this world is doing well. Oh, are you jealous of its popularity? Then do better. Make something more creative. Make something more imaginative. Make something which you're proud of. Make something, or you can go down the EA route. Make something highest common denominator that's a money printer. Make FIFA. Make FIFA 22, 23, 24. Because it's a license. Money printer go burr. Get your head out your ass. Because some of you have it quite far up there. Get your head out of your ass. And accept that there are things out there that you don't agree with that are popular. And there are things out there that you like that are dying in a fire for one reason or another. It's how the world works. It's how the world works. For good or for bad, that's how it all goes. But at the very least, get your head out your ass. Please. There are so many fart sniffers in game dev. Some people who are grand visionaries, and some people who are far less intelligent than they think they are. Looking at you, Peter Molyneux. Actually, Molyneux, if you can give us a new black and white, that'd be chef's kiss. That'd be lovely. I love a new black and white. Or black and white remastered, damn it. Give me black and white back. The Elden Ring may not be what various devs or journalists want it to be. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's different. It's new. Sure, it follows... I wouldn't say... Well, saying new is probably a bit too much. It follows the typical FromSoft design philosophy. But again, you know what you're getting into with that. There's nothing wrong with that. At all. And if you feel like the stuff you're making isn't up to snuff to make it in this world, then just do better. Work harder. Come up with better ideas. At the end of the day, we've all got the capacity to do something like that. Just a matter of doing it. That's the issue there. It's a matter of doing it. But yeah, the whole group of Western devs that were dunking on Japanese games, they just stop. Just stop. You're not making your point. You're not changing anyone's mind by dunking on the Japanese games. There are games out there that are going to be too hard for everyone to play, and that's fully fine. That's fine. I accept that I'm never going to be good at a Dark Souls game or a Souls game. I'm never going to be good at them. And as I'm getting older, it's only going to get worse. But that's how it goes. I'm fully accepting of that. But when your track record is Battlefield 2042 and you're a UX designer for Ubisoft, just take that opinion and shove it right up your butthole. And I got a little bit more aggressive than I was intending to. But that's how I feel about the matter. If you don't like a game, by all means, you can not like it. But as a game dev, it's kind of expected of you to say, hey guys, nice work on getting your vision out there. It seems a lot of people liked it. May not necessarily be to my taste, but I appreciate the work you guys put into it. And if you think bad about it, that's all you gotta say. If you think better of it, sure, whatever. But it's the whole thing of when you were a kid, when your parents said, if you can't say anything nice, don't say anything at all. And sure, I'm completely contradicting this and being an absolute hypocrite by saying my opinion on the matter, which is relatively negative. But I think we all know that I'm a hypocrite anyway. But that's also just the thing. I'm not a game dev. It's not expected of me to say, hey guys, nice work on that. I'm a gamer. But I can by far say, oh, I think this is good, nice work. I don't appreciate, I don't like sports, I don't play sports games. I don't like sports games, typically speaking, excuse me. But I'm not gonna go out there and be all like, if it's a really popular sports game and it doesn't have all the predatory stuff in it which you have in a modern sports game nowadays, if it's a game that I'm personally not interested in, but it's a popular release, it's doing new things, it's groundbreaking, you can sit there and go, I may not like it, but I can appreciate the work and the art that went into this. I can appreciate the effort that the devs put in, and I can turn the other way and not say much else. But again, the whole thing about them saying that, oh, it's a Souls game, it does the same as usual. Again, formulaic, you can't really complain about formulaic. One, you work for Ubisoft, so formulaic is your middle name. And two, you can still use the same formula, but you don't necessarily you don't necessarily stick to it like glue. You can try new things within said formula. Like Bloodborne and the whole Souls formula. Bloodborne was a lot faster than Dark Souls. But on whether something's good or bad, I've always been of the impression of there's like a triangle, and you've got your various triangles. You can have a job done well, quickly, and cheaply. You can choose two, so you can get quickly and cheaply, but you won't have it done well. But you can have it done well and cheaply, but you won't have it done quick. And I follow the same sort of logic with games. And the triangle is gameplay. So the controls, the sound, no, gameplay, the aesthetic. Yeah, that was it. What's that last one? I really should have written this down because I know what the triangle is and I can't remember what the hell it is. Yeah, gameplay, aesthetic, and story. There we go. Jeez, that was a lot harder than it needed to be. The triangle of gameplay, aesthetic, and story. Now, aesthetic can handle a lot of things. So, sound design, graphic design, overall style of the game. Controls are exactly as they say. You want your game to handle not like ass, not like a potato, not have the aerodynamics of a brick. And in terms of story, you want your game to be thrilling. You want your game to hold the attention. You want the story to hold the attention of the player and want them to keep going through and find out what's at the end of that story, what's waiting for them. And a lot of games will only ever hit two of those criteria, but two of those criteria I feel is enough to hit the good mark. For example, you can have a game that has a really bad story, but the controls are solid, they're fluid, you do exactly what you're doing, and the style can be crazy good. And I'm pretty sure we can all name a few games like that. Games like Metal Gear Rising, Bayonetta, Devil May Cry, Vanquish, most Platinum games. Nier. Nier, we can go down another route with Nier. Nier is something we want to talk about later. It's far away, that discussion. It's not Nier at all. But those games, Platinum games, like kind of embody the whole control and aesthetic part of this triangle. You definitely feel badass when you're playing Metal Gear Rising and you're there cutting the arm off Metal Gear Ray. Like, that's just badass. The story in Metal Gear Rising is so bad. But that game is just fun. There's no denying that game is fun. Alternatively, you can have a game that controls well with a great storyline, but its aesthetic may be a bit off. And I guess things like that would be... Now, I don't know whether you can consider this as bad aesthetic, but games like Undertale, they're a much older style compared to modern releases, something you would have expected on the NES. The game controls decently, and it's got a great story. It's telling the story it wants to say. And again, don't get me wrong, the whole aesthetic thing, it doesn't have to be a game that has top tier graphics. It doesn't have to be the Crysis of the era. And Crysis is a good example of style over substance, unfortunately. Crysis looked great, but its controls were kind of clunky, and the story wasn't that great. But you've got that triangle. I think that triangle works really well. Arguably, yeah. One of my favourite games ever made thinking about it, is Time Splitters 2. And Time Splitters 2's story is, it's kind of meh. But it's got it controls really well. Especially when you consider the era it's in. When you compare it to modern controls, it doesn't hold up quite as well. But back in the time it came from, the controls were good. If a bit unusual, the whole GoldenEye controls thing. But the story for Time Splitters wasn't that great. Time Splitters 2 especially wasn't that great. But the aesthetic, the cartooniness of all the characters, you could tell what each character was just by looking at them. And the game played really well. Actually, thinking about it, the original Deus Ex meets all three criteria. The original Deus Ex handled well, had pretty good controls. Not probably as good on console as it was on PC because you had all the F buttons. And I tell you now, playing a game which has F button controls on a Packard Bell PC when you were like early teens, and every F button on the keyboard did something for the Packard Bell machine. Oh god, that was a pain, but it was still good. But the controls were good for Deus Ex. The aesthetic was great. It had the whole relatively near future cyberpunky aesthetic down. Especially when you consider this game came from 2000. The aesthetic was good, the controls were good, and the story for Deus Ex, I honestly think you could probably make the original Deus Ex into a TV series, and it would do quite well. If there was ever a game franchise that could work as either a movie or a series of movies or a TV show, the original Deus Ex could probably work quite well. Probably, it really could. And it predicted so many things. A global pandemic. It predicted the Twin Towers being destroyed in a terrorist attack. I mean, at this point we can probably take Deus Ex as a prophecy over anything else. But yeah, my point on that is the whole triangle of choose two of these and you're probably golden. If your game looks good and has a great story, people may be willing to overlook bad controls. If your game handles well and has a great story, people may be able to overlook substandard graphics. Looking at Pokemon Legends Arceus. Compared to modern releases, the graphics aren't as good. I still think it's got a great aesthetic. The whole design for it is good. But it handles well and it's got an interesting story to it. But you know, you can have a game that looks good and handles well, but has poor story. But again, people will appreciate that. Any Platinum game, Platinum games can tell you about that one. I know I've moved away from my original point, but that's how these things go, isn't it? You just randomly go along. It's like these streams, these videos are like me just dumping my my brain out. Sometimes you need to reset, just bleh, and out you go. Oh, excuse me. I'm here drinking my beverage. But yeah, those are my thoughts. I may play Elden Ring on stream at some point. We'll see. I've got so many games on my Steam account. How many games do I have on my Steam account? Too many. Is that a way of seeing? Oh wait, I can just go to my Steam profile and find out that way. I've got a fair few installed as well. I think that'll work. Nope, that just takes me to activity. Oh, I've broken 1,000. Yeah. I have broken 1,000, and I've broken 5,000 achievements. I only have 29 perfect games. But yeah. I would like to play Elden Ring. I hear there are some issues with the PC version, unfortunately. But again, that's Bamco in a nutshell. I've been playing their One Piece, some of their One Piece games. I've been playing One Piece Pirate Warriors 3 and One Piece World Seeker because I've been getting back into One Piece. And the downside of those is neither... One Piece Pirate Warriors 3, the controller support and controller detection on that is so bad that I had to use a Steam... what did I use? Because I'm using an Xbox One controller, not an Xbox 360 controller for a start. And all of the profiles for a 360 controller. I had to save a controller setting. I had to save a controller setting and modify it just so that select was the A button, not like the X button. So I had to go through a load of different controller configs, and I was there for an hour trying to make the controller configs work for that. But I mean, I can understand with Pirate Warriors because this was a little bit older. Pirate Warriors 3 was 2005, that's 7 years ago. So I can kind of forgive it, but you really can't. Because it doesn't, for some reason, the PC version didn't have full controller mapping. So it doesn't have the whole X-Pad support. So it doesn't automatically go A, B, X, Y, start select, LR, you know, all of those. It doesn't have those. Left trigger, right trigger, or left bumper, right bumper. Doesn't have all those. It's got joypad 1, joypad 2, joypad 3, and I had to go through and I had to just change so many settings before I could play it. After an hour it handles great, but if you were to put those settings on a console release, like if it was on the Xbox and it came out with those controls, people would not play it. People would just give up. They would say, nah, screw this, I'm taking this back, this game does not handle. And I don't know if that's the same for all of the Misu games. All of the Dynasty Warriors, Samurai... I think Samurai Warriors isn't on PC, is it? Because it's a PlayStation exclusive, that one. But at least I think it is. Let's check. Oh no, Samurai Warriors are on PC. Oh, those are some expensive bloody games. 55 quid? For Samurai Warriors 5? Wait, is that not Bamco? Is that just Koei Tecmo? I thought Bamco did the PC releases for these. I'm gonna have to check this because I could have sworn that the Warriors. Actually, if I check the store page for One Piece, because I know it's Bamco. Oh, that is Bamco. Interesting. Bear with me a second. So we did the Tales of games, Scarlet Nexus, Little Nightmares, Project Cars, Fast and Furious Crossroads. I kind of want to play that and see how bad it is, but I am not paying £40 for that. Sword Art Online. Oh, Namco Museum. Code Vein, Ni no Kuni, Black Clover. Oh, so they did do God Eater, One Piece World Seeker. Did they do Dark Souls Remastered? Okay. One Piece Unlimited World. They've got to then. They've got to have done. There's Burning Blood. Yeah, they did do One Piece Pirate Warriors. So yeah, Bamco do all the Misu games. Or the Koei Tecmo games. So yeah, that is yeah. If Bandai Namco were to release games like in that state on console, they would never, like, you, for one, you can't play a Masu game on a keyboard. You can't do WASD to like move forward, backwards, left and right, and then use the arrow keys to do like turning, and then like a Z for a certain attack, and then a G for another attack, and an R for another attack. And I'm not joking, that's how bad the default keyboard controls are for these games. You have to use a controller, but only having half-assed controller support makes it more difficult than it need be. I'm just going to check the store page for this and see if people complain about the controls. I'm just reading through now. Originally played this on Switch. Hold on, what? Hold on. One Piece Pirate Warriors on the Switch? No! Wow. It actually did go on the Switch? So Pirate Warriors 3 came out in 2015, and then in 2018 it came out on the Switch, and it's now still being charged at £55. Wow. Namco, we really need to talk about your pricings for games. That's the eShop price for One Piece Pirate Warriors 3 as well. Wonder what it is on Amazon. If it's even on Amazon. Let's find out. One Piece Pirate Warriors 3 Switch. How much are you charging for that? Oh wait! There's no point trying to get a physical release because it's Bamco. Yeah! So on Amazon it's £32 for the box. But it doesn't have the game in it. It's just got a download code. Yeah, and that's becoming a real pain in Europe, especially at this point in time, where various companies aren't releasing they're not releasing games on cartridges for the Switch. And I think the two which are notorious for this are, I think, Capcom and Ubisoft. Capcom and Ubisoft are notorious for not releasing physical games on the Switch. And it's infuriating. I probably get more annoyed at this than I should, but it is actually infuriating that if I want to get a physical version of a game for the Switch from Capcom or Ubisoft, I have to import it. And I'm sure the reasoning is like, oh well, if we do physical versions, no one buys them. And Capcom did the same with a lot of the games they release now. A lot of their remasters you can't buy physical versions of in general, which is just like, oh no, we only released it digitally in Europe because no one will buy it physically. And you're there, just what? Where does this come from? No one will buy it physically. Oh yeah, no one buys the box versions anymore. Yeah, no one buys the box version anymore because you're not putting the game in it. You're putting a code in it. Why will I buy the physical version if I'm not getting the physical version? I'm just getting a box with a code in it. I have literally no reason to have the box then, do I? The whole logic behind, oh, we'll release a box, but we won't put a disc in it, we won't put a cartridge in it, we won't do anything with that, we'll just release the box. Nah, fuck off with that. No boxes. Release physical. I like having physical versions of games. I really hate that when I wanted to get the Ace Attorney trilogy, the Gakutan Cyberman trilogy, I had to import the Japanese version because the Japanese version has both the Western and the Japanese, has both the Western and Japanese localizations, and it will detect your system language. So if you're running on an English native Switch, it will give you the English localization with all the puns and stuff. And if you're using a Japanese console, it'll give you the Japanese one. The fact that I had to import that from Japan, though, really grinds my gears. I couldn't get a cartridge released in the UK. I couldn't. I had to import it. Same with it's like the old school Ace Attorney. I had to import that. I had to import an American version of that. It's a joke. The fact that I have to import various games to play the physical version of them because they won't release them physically in the West is annoying. Or in Europe especially. Really gets on my nerves. It's like if you look at all the Ubisoft games on Switch, I think the only ones that they release physically are their bigger ones. So, what's it called? Oh Christ, it's another open world game. Generic open world, number 56. I have it on PS4. Hold on a second. Immortals Phoenix Rising. There we go. On Switch. Is that a physical release? It is. Bloody hell, that surprises me actually. Yeah, so that's actually on cartridge. But the so say I wanted to buy Trivial Pursuit or Monopoly or Uno or any of those on Switch. They have a physical box version of them, but the boxes only have codes in. They don't have a physical version of the game, which defies the point of selling the bloody case, because you're just putting plastic out there with a piece of cardboard in that's single bloody use. You use the code, you never have to open the box again. What's the point? You don't need the box. I think, was it Mario and Rabbids? The Rabbids games on Switch, they're all physical. Just Dance is physical. I'm just trying to see if I can find the list of games that they release on Switch from Ubisoft, but I can't. But yeah, it just annoys me when you've got a lot of games which are just, oh, I'm just gonna make a box and put nothing in it. We're just gonna put a code in it and that's it. Nah, I'm good. Thanks. I am all good. I don't need that. I don't need a bloody empty box sitting on my shelf. He says, with Mankind Divided, Deus Ex Mankind Divided's PC release being a code in a box that sat on his shelf. Oh well. Well, it's been nearly an hour. I got a little bit more heated than I intended. I was intending on just being chill this entire time like the last one, but I had a couple topics. Oh, I had a topic that I wanted to talk about, and I went a bit off the deep end there. I've added a number on my throat, guys. Jeez. Oh well. Alright, well, I'm going to cut it off here then. I'll probably have another one of these sometime in the week. Especially if news happens. Because news is always happening. But yeah. Alright then. Done a number on my throat in this. I've been a lot louder than I usually am. Which is really strange when you consider. But yeah. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed. This will be going up on YouTube in 24 hours. Whole thing about Twitch is exclusivity, so. But we'll see how that goes. We'll load this up and then go from there. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed. If you are new, please do click that follow button. Always nice to have more of you guys tuning in. If you're so inclined, you can also click the subscribe button. We have two. Well, we have 3 reward tiers, but we just changed it so that tier 1 has all of our emotes, Darker Nope and Dark Assault. So both of the emotes are going in there. If you Twitch Prime, you can throw that my way if you feel I so deserve it, and you'll get access to all the tier 1 emotes as well. Tomorrow or some point this week, we should be having a new Darker Tea emote appearing. Look out for that. I'm liking how that's looking at the moment, and if we can make that look good in the tiny pixel form that we're allowed, I think we're quids in with that. So prepare for that this week. We're going to be streaming some more Destiny, streaming maybe some Smite at some point, and I'll probably get around to streaming some Deus Ex and a few other things. I've got a load of other games that I want to play on stream at some point. Maybe some more Forza on Thursday, but keep an eye out. Who knows what game we'll be playing on stream. It could be anything. But yeah. Have a very good evening, morning, afternoon, or night, wherever you may be. And I will see you all in the next video. Take it easy, guys. Bye-bye.